Hello, podcast listeners. We know podcasts are a great way to catch up on a program that you may have missed on KSJE, and it's provided as a free service of this radio station. But you know, KSJE is now listener-supported, and so while you enjoy this podcast, we hope that you'll also take some time to join KSJE. Become a member today. It's quite easy to do. Just go to our website at ksje.com/support and pick the level of support that best matches your budget. Thanks again for listening. Here's your podcast. Continuing our coverage of the candidates who are running for San Juan County Sheriff in the upcoming primary election on Tuesday, June 2nd. Republican Jon Nyce is joining me here in the studio to talk about his campaign. Mr. Nyce, thank you for coming in to KSJE. It's good to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate the invite to come in and talk a little bit.
Yeah, well, it gives us an opportunity to meet each candidate and learn a bit more about you and your campaign. And I guess the first question would be, like I ask everybody, is what made you decide to run for San Juan County Sheriff?
Well, I worked for the San Juan County Sheriff for the first 10 years of my career in law enforcement, and just noticed a lot of problems and so decided to make a change. And so I changed over to the state, and I actually am an investigator for the Public Defender's Office.
That's what you're doing now?
Yes, sir. That's what I do now, and I've been doing that for the last almost 7 years, or just over 7 years. And found out during doing this that there's even a bigger problem than I saw just as being a deputy or a detective over at the SO. And there is a huge need for training that they're not receiving. And again, when I worked there, asked for trainings, always denied trainings, never wanted to spend money on training. And now it's catching up. And it's why the current administration lost 23 of 43 deputies, so over 50% of deputies. And I'm not talking about new deputies. I'm talking about 10-year deputies like myself and other deputies that left at around the same time, because we didn't feel valued.
Right.
So, talking to a lot of the different people that left when I left, and we all had the same feeling: is we don't feel valued. We don't feel important enough to get money spent on us and the training that we need. And now what we're seeing is, when we lost all those people, or when the SO lost all the people, we're seeing just a deterioration of arrest reports and regular police reports or search warrants. And it's these young deputies that they're not getting the training that they need. And I won't say his name, but a gentleman that I really respect from Farmington PD asked me one day about what I've been seeing. And I told him that, reports are awful and we need to really get those changed. And he said, that's because we have toddlers training babies. And that's exactly right. And you can see it in the report. So the reason I'm stepping in the ring is probably the same reasons the other ones see, except for maybe Burns, because he's in the admin right now. But we have to have a change. And, I hate to say it like this, but it's been the good old boy network for ever since I worked there, except for I worked under Melton was my first sheriff, and then Mark McCloskey was my second sheriff. And just the best sheriff you could have asked for with Mark McCloskey. I did work under Ken both of his terms, and then some under Shane. But just, it's been the good old boy network. It's just not right. We need to break that cycle. Get somebody new in there like myself. My undersheriff is Carlos Loomis, and he's retired police officer. He worked 17 years for the SO, and finished his career out in Bloomfield as a detective. And so talking through him, he now works for the DA's office. He's one of their investigators at the DA's office. And just talking with him, man, we just lined up with everything. And he was the simple choice for me for my undersheriff. So.
Got you. So your undersheriff and yourself, both two outsiders, wanting to go into the sheriff's office to make some, sounds like pretty major, significant changes.
Very much so. It's major changes that need to take place. We can't just keep leaving it the same. This is why people aren't staying in jail, is they get arrested the night of the incident. and then everything falls apart after that. You know, the investigations weren't being done well, reports aren't being written well, search warrants aren't being conducted correctly. So when they get to the DA's office or the judges, they look at them and there's nothing they can do. So it's not, a lot of people want to blame the DA's office and the judges. It's not all of them. It's what they're being given. So they're being given these reports and these arrest warrants, and once the judge looks at them or the DA looks at them, they don't have what we call PC, or probable cause. So the guy doesn't stay in jail. The case is dismissed or they're acquitted during trial, and that's happening a lot. That's the one thing we really want to fix is arrest rate and conviction rate is way down here. So we need to get those numbers closer together. You know, the other thing is, this is going to be a working position for me. I'm not a figurehead. This isn't a retirement gig for me, like maybe some of the others. It's a job. I mean, we're going to be working. Carlos and I will be out. You'll see us out with the guys Friday nights, Saturday nights. I feel so strongly about them needing the training, and who better than myself and Carlos? Both of us has worked on both sides of the aisle. We've worked prosecution and defense. So who better to train somebody? We know exactly what the defense attorneys are looking for. So we're tailoring our training and on reports and arrest report writing, arrest warrant writing, for exactly what we know that they're going to look for and question, and we make that solid. Those guys are going to stay in jail. They're not going to be out committing more crimes like it's happened before. It happens all the time. They get let out. The one guy that was let out and ends up killing 2 people. You know, that kind of stuff it's not acceptable to me. And that's why this is going to be a working job for me. We're working this. I'm not sitting back, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not this glad hander, and we're going to be out working.
Right. It sounds like, though, you talk about more training and things like that. That's going to be more money. Do you feel you can get the support from the county commission to fund some of these things that you might need?
Absolutely. So what we're going to do is we're going to reallocate some of this money. I worked for a multi-billion-dollar company. I ran a multi-million-dollar branch for them. So I'm very well versed in budgeting and how it works. So we're going to reallocate some money. We're going to shift some things around. We're not going to be buying $100,000 Tahoes for the admin. We're going to, bring that down. We're going to take some more money from there, and we're going to be actually getting rid of some positions if we get in there that I don't feel are needed. I think we're top heavy at the SO right now. 3 captain spots we've never had 3 captain spots. So one of those captain spots we'll be talking to getting rid of. There's a sergeant spot that I know it's being held for a position or like a task force. It's called the SET team. Mm-hmm. That it was a good idea, but they never did anything with it. So I'm going to get rid of that position and put money or give that money out we want to get more money for the guys as well. So all these things for trainings, and right now, no more SHOT Show for the admin. The admin and their buddies going up to the SHOT Show. That's not money that we're going to spend. We're not going to spend that money on that. We're going to spend it on training for the guys. This is all about my admin is going to work for the guys, not the other way around like it's been for so long. It's what can you do for me? No, what can we do for you to make you the best cop that you can be out there, and that you can write good arrest warrants so these guys will stay in jail that are supposed to be in there. We're also going to look at some programs to where there are some people in there that jail's it doesn't help them. So we're going to look at some programs to get them rehabbed or just to where they're a better member of our community.
Right.
And a lot of it is drugs. We have such a bad drug problem here with meth and fentanyl. So get them the help that they need. Otherwise, we're going to keep seeing them. And I've talked to Judge Dean about this, who I hold the highest respect for. And he totally agrees. If we can get these guys some help, we won't have to keep dealing with them over and over. And there's programs out there right now that are not being used. So that could be.
Right.
So we're really going to be looking at those programs.
Sure. But we have some diversion programs, do we not? And you don't think that it's being used enough or used at all?
I don't think it's being used at all. I've actually asked some of the attorneys in my office, I said, hey, there was this one program that I heard about that the guys can use it, the diversion program,
Right.
and are they using it? And I was told, no, they're not using it. And actually, the guy at the SO who was kind of going to be over that, and he was actually great, and he knew what he was doing, and I think it's CIT, it's a critical incident training, and they teach you how to talk to people with mental health issues.
Sure.
And that's a huge problem here too, is our mental health population here. And that's huge, and we need to get them to help. But he actually was taken out of that position for some reason, because I'm not going to speak out of school, but it was not used. Maybe he wanted to use it, and he's not in that position anymore. So we're going to look at things like that, because these are very important programs that are put out there, and people spend a lot of time coming up with these programs. So I think it's they're due a look.
Sure.
Yeah.
Understood. The sheriff is the highest elected law enforcement officer in the county.
Yes.
And has some certainly responsibilities and maybe additional responsibilities than maybe an appointed police chief would, or things along that line. Mm-hmm. What's your view on the role of the sheriff and kind of enforcing laws in the state that follow the state constitution, the federal constitution, things like that? As sheriff, how do you jive some of those things with your personal beliefs and just some of the things that we've seen recently?
Well, and that's
a long question.
And it's a great question, because right now, looking out there I get hit all the time with the questions about ICE. Do you support ICE? I support all federal agencies. Right now, the biggest question I get asked, and I do catch some heat for this, but I'll explain. Mm-hmm. So, yes, being sheriff here and in this time, in this era, with what's going on out there, and everybody sees it on the news, I'm always asked, would you help ICE with undocumented residents here? And my answer is no. I will make sure that they are safe when they're doing their jobs, but I am not going to be arresting people for their immigration status, because I don't know the immigration law. My deputies don't know the immigration law, and as we see on TV, it's a mess right now. And sometimes it looks like maybe the ICE agents aren't clear on certain things as well. So I don't want to put my guys in a situation like that. And we're actually covered. The Supreme Court, U.S. Supreme Court, came out with the anti-commandeering doctrine, and that states that the responsibility for immigration enforcement is solely on federal agents.
Not county,
not state, not local. It's on them. Mm-hmm. And I think there's a reason for that. And the reason is because we don't know those laws. It's the same reason I'm not having my guys go out, or wouldn't have my guys go out and arrest people on tax evasion. We don't know tax law. We're not going to get into that. But what we're going to do is make sure that both sides of this are safe. If we've got ICE agents in town, and I know they're in town, and I hear that there's going to be a protest, we're absolutely going to be there. And we're going to keep both sides safe. We're going to keep the protesters back at a safe distance so they're not interfering, because that seems to be where most of the problems are occurring. So we're going to keep them back, and we're also going to keep the ICE agents away from the protesters. So that's what I promised to do in that situation. Now people are like, "Oh, I can't believe," this is what I always get is, "Oh, I can't believe you would these violent criminals that are here illegally." Oh, well, that's a totally different subject. So with that, absolutely, if you're a criminal in San Juan County and I'm the sheriff, yes, we are going to take care of you.
Legal or illegal?
Legal or illegal, that doesn't matter to me. That's a whole other thing, and that's another thing that we've pledged already with the U.S. Marshals and a good partnership with them. I was a sworn U.S. Marshal while I was a deputy, and we're going to staff their positions. We used to have one or two positions that's what they did, is they went out with the U.S. Marshals, and they need help like that.
Gotcha. Okay, very good. Mr. Nyce, we're just about out of time.
Sure.
I'm sorry to say, but before we go, if folks are listening and would like more information about you or your campaign, what's the best way to find out about you?
So best way is I've got a website, so it's JonNyceForSheriff.com. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram, Jon Nyce for Sheriff. So you can find me at all three of those places.
All right. Very good. Thank you for sitting down with me. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Scott. I appreciate you.
You're very welcome. That's Jon Nyce. He is running the Republican Party for Sheriff of San Juan County with me here on KSJE. Did you enjoy that podcast? We hope that you did. And if you did, share it with your friends. And if you really want to keep podcasts like this coming, please support KSJE. You can do it easily online at ksje.com.